I have a bit of a confession to make. Despite Hunter x Hunter being one of my two favorite anime of all time, and despite the fact that I already have a few videos on this channel regarding it, I have never actually read the manga in its entirety. However, I've decided to remedy my erring ways, and in doing so, I've discovered something I could make a quick video off of. So let's get to it. The third phase of the Hunter exam took place in Trick Tower, where the gang, together with the God Emperor of Trollkind Tonpa, had to make their way through the various trials and tribulations of the tower within a 72-hour time span. Not doing so would mean failure, and doing so early would entail a lot of awkward sitting on a hard and probably really cold stone floor. This all the while having the added feature of a majority vote rule implemented throughout the whole thing, but that doesn't really matter for this video, so let's get to what actually does. Was I the only one who was a bit confused when Leroute, I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce her name by the way, so bear with me, suddenly changed her gamble when Leorio threatened to drop Magitani like Araki does to his plotlines? Even after rewatching the anime a second time, a few years ago, I remember still not being sure as to why she was allowed to just do that out of the blue. Also, why did Leorio threaten to drop him instead of just giving him a nipple twist or something? Well, those are the hard-hitting questions we're here to answer. In a very roundabout way. To set the stage, Kurapika had just floored Magitani after getting triggered at his tattoo and impersonation of a troop member, knocking him out cold. However, as the established terms for winning were either death or an admission of defeat, in opting to not finish him off, Kurapika created a situation where the gang would have to wait for Magitani to regain consciousness and admit defeat before they could move on to the next challenge. However, they soon realized that A, they weren't completely sure he was still alive, and B, that he could very well fake being unconscious for the whole 60-something hours they had to reach the bottom of the tower. Now, this would be extremely beneficial to the prisoners, as for every hour they stall the gang, and Tonpa, they get a year shaved off their sentences, which for the most part are at about 100+ years each. The gang raises point A to the prisoners, and they accept to have Leorio check the state of Schrodinger's roided-out Smurf. However, at this point, the next challenge begins. The rules are actually mostly outright stated, but not in an obvious way in which most manga do it, so they're easy to miss if you're not paying attention fully. Hence why a lot of people, including me, were confused by what happened. So for the sake of clarity, let me put them forward immediately. First of all, both Leroute and Leorio each have a pool of 50 hours to wager. Second, the rules of the challenge are the following. One of them will name the wager, like Leroute did with regards to the Smurfoid being either alive or dead, with the other having to be the one to place the bet, like Leorio did, wagering 10 hours on Magitani being alive. He did that since betting that he was dead and being wrong would both lose them 10 hours and would mean that Kurapika's match still wasn't over, which was the impetus for all of this in the first place, making it a lose-lose outcome. Leorio proved himself a real smart cookie there. He ends up being right, and the gang is up 10 points. However, after giving Magitani a quick checkup and noticing he is indeed conscious, Leorio poses a wager of his own. Is Magitani really unconscious, or just faking it? He then holds Magitani to the edge of the arena with the intent to drop him. He does this because giving him a nipple twist would first of all be impossible because like most anime characters he doesn't have any, and second there would be no way to know whether he was unconscious and then he woke up because of the pain, or if he was just faking and just couldn't withstand the pain. After thinking on it for a quick while, Leroute accepts the bet, but wagers her remaining 40 hours that he is indeed alive. Magitani promptly comes to, giving her the win, and leaving the gang with only 20 hours left, but also giving Kurapika the official victory in his match, as Magitani immediately admits defeat, which was Leorio's initial goal. Now, the reason why this sequence had me confused was the wording in both the manga's and anime's translations, where it says that Leroute changed her bet to him being alive. In bold, mind you. How could she do such a thing last minute? And if she could, how come Leorio couldn't? In reality, though, she didn't change anything. The result of her initial wager regarding Magitani being alive or dead was already resolved, and this was a different wager altogether, posed by Leorio to see whether he was faking being unconscious or not. She didn't actually even make a bet herself, as the person who names the wager has to take the opposite position to that of the one placing their bet. For instance, when Leorio wagered 10 hours on Magitani being alive, Leroux had to take the opposite stance, that he was in fact dead. This is actually never outright stated, but sort of implied with how the game is structured. In short, no established rules or precedents were actually broken. However, Leorio then proceeds to lose the round, losing 10 hours pretty much on purpose to inspect Leroux's assets, like the horny teenager he is, surprising no one, and the last 10 hours because his yet unnamed childhood friend apparently died so young that Leorio never learned to play rock, paper, scissors properly.